Hello, friends. Today we are talking about the data model of Google Analytics 4. What are events? What are parameters? How do they work? How do they look? How can we track them? And to do this, we're going to be looking at this example site of FitStays. FitStays is a website that is a directory of a whole bunch of fitness resorts and retreats and yoga places, and it's got a lot of content, which makes it great for analysis. So we'll look at FitStays here, starting in Google Tag Manager. Now, I will say you can do everything in GA4 without using Tag Manager, but it's a lot more difficult. You're going to need a developer to track a lot of things. You will have to do a lot of custom JavaScripty things, and it's just going to make your life a heck of a lot easier if you say, yes, we're going to install Google Tag Manager on our site and use the Tag Manager way of working, essentially. So if we want to see what Tag Manager thinks about our FitStays website here and all those events and parameters that we want to track, we're going to go into preview mode right over here. So this will open up a new window where everything we do will be tracked, and we can see exactly what Google sees, all of our events and parameters. So in the GA4 model, everything is an event. I loaded this page, that's an event. It's a page load event. If I scroll, there's a scroll event. If I click, there's a click event. If I just stay on the page a little while, that's an engagement event. And all of this can be tracked if you want to track it and if you have it set up the right way. So we're just going to browse around a little bit here. So I'm going to scroll. Okay, let's go ahead and click into another page. Let's just look at fitness resorts. How about that? And let's keep looking. Okay, you know what? I would love to learn more about SkyTerra Wellness Retreat. This looks great. So I'm going to click on this page. And okay, we're loaded here. You know what? I'm going to read this. This looks fantastic. I want to stay here. I'm going to go ahead and give them a call. And we'll do my click to call here. I'm not actually going to call them, though, so we're going to close that window. So let's see what Google thought of all that. Over here in our Tag Assistant window, we can see the events that have been firing all along the way. This is the actions that Google saw down the left, and then in the center here, the events that they fired off because of those things. So when I loaded the homepage, the FitStays homepage, it fired off the GA4 config tag. For most people, this is going to be the tag that sends your page view, along with any parameters you want to say about what are we talking about with this content. So sure enough, yes, did we send a page view event? Sure did. That's great. And now here are all of these custom parameters that I set up that I said, hey, I want to set a field for search results if this is a search results page, or a listing category, or a content group. And it's going to fill in these values of a variable called search results number, a variable called listing category, and a variable called content group. Now it's just showing me the variable names now. I want to actually see what did it fire. So I'm going to go into the action when that fired. It fired when we had container loaded, that it fired our GA4 config tag. Sure enough, search results, null, not a search page. Listing category, null, not a listing page. Content group, homepage, great. That's exactly what I wanted. These are all of my parameters that fired off in my page view event. And I can see them right here. We see other events. If I go in and look at the fitness resorts page, I can see, all right, that was a category page. So the parameters look a little bit different there. If I go into our SkyTerra Wellness page, let's look at that one and its parameters. Okay, it's in the category of fitness resorts, and it is a listing page. This is exactly what I wanted to see. This is fantastic. This is great. So that was all my content event of page view, basically, and all of the parameters that fired off with it. But we had other things that happened too here. Say, for example, I clicked on that phone number, didn't I? Yeah, sure enough, I had a link click, and it fired off this event, a click to call event. It says, hey, event succeeded. That I like to see. So this is an event. I built this. I set this up to say, hey, I want this to be an event. I want to call the event click _to _call. Wonderful. And I want to track a few things with that event, some parameters that go along with it. I want to track a parameter called link URL. And there it is. It's that the link was a phone number, and there is the value of the phone number. I want to track a parameter that says outbound because it's not an internal link. It's not keeping me on my site. It's going elsewhere to a phone number. So yes, true. That is an outbound link. So these are the parameters that are assigned to the click to call event. Now I want to show you what this looks like in Google Analytics. To do so, I'm going to go ahead and we'll stop our connection here, stop debugging. We can save ourselves some bandwidth and go ahead and look. Here's Google Analytics. Here's GA4 for the FitStays account. And in engagement events, here are all of my events. I see page view, a lot of those, user engagement, session start. Just click to call, the view search results event. This is fantastic. This is my full list of events, and it includes all the default events that Google gives me out of the box, as well as those custom events that I made that are here at the bottom. I also want to see those parameters that describe the events, give me a lot more information about what events just happened. And the best place to find that is over in the Explorer tab and my list of explorations. I have one built here called listing categories. I will say in the reports tab, all of those reports are essentially showing you parameters, but the best way to interact with them is over here in custom explorations. So basically, I have created a report here that said, hey, remember that parameter called listing category? I want to see all of the page views based on broken down by these listing categories. So it looks like my fitness resorts listing category had a whole lot of action, a lot of page views in this time frame, actually more than all the rest combined. So I know what my moneymaker is on this site in terms of listing categories. That was one parameter out of a whole bunch. In fact, if you click this plus button, this shows you all these parameters. Look at those parameters, more and more parameters, 169 different parameters. You probably won't use most of them, but this is where you find your parameters that are valuable to you and can add them to this report here. I'm actually going to make another report just to show you what it looks like to mess with more parameters. We had a parameter of content group. So I'm going to duplicate this and rename it to content group. And I'll go ahead and find that parameter. So I had one called content group. There it is. Let's go ahead and add it, import, and I will double click to add it to this report. And I actually just going to get rid of listing category. So content group, keep, yes. And it's all listings right now because that's what my filters are set to. We were just looking at listings. I'll get rid of those filters and see. Yep, we had a lot of listing page views, but category pages got some action. This is because I think my date range is just set a little bit too wide, but region pages, my home page is actually the least popular, which is very interesting to see. You don't see that too often. It just means that my content here in these listing pages and these category pages is really, really, really good. So not a bad thing to see there. That's it. I have seen my events. I have seen my parameters. I can see them all here. In future videos, I think this will make more sense when we talk about very specific things that we are tracking and looking for. But I hope this is a good overview. One last thing I want to share with you that is critically important is all of those parameters that we made over here in Google Tag Manager. You can't actually do anything with them in Analytics. You can't see them even in Analytics unless you do one important step. And that's over here in the admin section under custom definitions. You basically have to register all of the parameters you care about. So just because you make a parameter over here in your tags, that's great, but it only counts in Analytics if you register it, which is basically creating a custom dimension. That's the Analytics terminology for these parameters, or a custom metric. I would say 90+% of the time, you're not going to be dealing with metrics. That's specifically for numerical data that you want to treat as a number. We want to deal with basically quantitative data, even sometimes, or I'm sorry, qualitative data. Even sometimes when it is a number, we still want to treat it like qualitative data. 90% of the time you want to deal with this, and it's a custom dimension. So if I know the name of a parameter, let's just grab one here in our GA4 config tag. Look, here are these parameters I set. Search results, listing category, content group. These are basically my parameter names. I can just take one of those, I can copy it over, and I will paste it right here, search_results, and I will name it search results. Now I can't do that because I already did that. It's already registered there. But if I had a new parameter that's not already registered, I would basically include it here and give it a name that makes sense to me. Then this is the name in this dimension name that I would see in that Explore tab to actually interact with and get access to the data. Again, if this was too much, if it was too fast, if it was coming at you with just too much information, hang tight. Some future videos are going to get into very specific examples. How do we do this one thing? And my hope is that that will make a lot more sense to you. So stick around. Those videos will be coming soon. If you have questions about any of this, feel free to leave a comment or reach out to me. I would love to tackle any challenging GA4 problems you might have. This is actually a lot of fun when you get into it, and I would love you to come along this journey with me. So thanks so much. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.